people had read of this rescue that was coming through the bloodline of Abraham. And they had seen where Micah proclaimed about the ruler to be born in Bethlehem. And while Daniel prophesied for the restoration of Jerusalem, Isaiah cried for the Son of God coming to them. So for them it was anticipation. This groaning was growing generation after generation, knowing He is holy no matter what the situation. They longed for Him. They yearned for Him. They waited for Him on the edge of their seats, on the edge of where excitement and containment meet. They waited like a child watches out the window for the father's return from work. They waited like a groom stares at the double doors at the back of the church. They waited, and in their waiting they had hope that was fully pledged to a God they had not seen, to a God who promised a king to reign over their enemies, over Satan's tyrannies. They waited, and so it was centuries of expectations with various combinations of differing schools of thought. Some people expecting a political king to rise up to the throne through the wars that he fought, while others would watch for a priest who would restore peace through the penetration of the Pharisees' facade. Yet a baby, 100% human, 100% God. And so the Word became flesh and was here to dwell among us in His fullness, grace among grace. Jesus, you see, for Him and by Him all things were created, and in Him all things are sustained. God had made Himself known for the glory of His name, and this child would one day rise as king, but it would not be by the sword of an insurgent regime. It would be by His life, a life that would revolutionize everything the world knew. He would endure persecution and temptation, all while staying true, humbly healing the broken, the sick, and hurting too, ministering reconciliation and turning old to new. And His life would be the very definition of what life truly costs, saying, if you desire life, then this current one must be lost. And He would portray that with His own life, as His Father would pour out and exhaust, and He would become obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. And so just 33 years after the day that He laid swaddled in the hay, He hung on a tree, suffocating and dying in our place, absorbing the wrath that is rightly ours, but we can never bear the weight. And so He took that punishment and He put it in the grave, and then He died. And when I say that He died, what I mean is that He died. There was no breath. There was no heartbeat. There was no sign of life. You see, God is a God of justice, and the penalty for our sin equals death. And that's what Christ did on the cross. But then, just 3 days later, in accordance with the Scriptures, He was raised from the grave. And when I say that He was raised, what I mean is that He was raised. Lungs breathing, heart pumping, blood pulsing through His veins. The things He said were true, and He is the risen Son of God. I'll bring life to me and you, and He is turning our mourning into dancing, our weeping into laughing, our sorrows into joy. By His mercy, He has called us as His own. By His grace, we will never be left alone. By His love, He's preparing for us a home, and by His blood, we can sing before the throne that Jesus paid it all. Oh, to Him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, but He washed it white as snow. So my church, this is why